Hello everyone and welcome to Edusurg Clinics. I am Dr. Gunjan Desai and today we are going to continue our discussion on landmark trials and how these evidences shape practice. And the Dutch trial is actually an example in stomach cancer surgery where it has actually studied the patients for nearly 1.5 decades and across two papers and the trial period spanning nearly 18 years. You will see how the surgery has evolved based on this multi-center trial. So the trial is Dutch D1D2 Gastric Cancer Trial. There is a 15-year evolution in the surgery for gastric cancer. You can see that the first paper was in NEJM in 1999 and the second paper is in 2010. Population study was nearly 1000 and follow-up of around 15 years. So why is there a need for this trial and why is this a landmark trial? If we see gastric cancer management between Eastern and Western population, there is gross discrepancy in the surgeries that were performed in the past. So extended D2 lymph node dissection was the standard of care as per the Japanese society, and we all know and study the Japanese society recommendations when it comes to gastric cancer management. They have already reported higher long-term survival rates. However, in the West, D1 was preferred because when these same surgeries were performed in the Western population, the surgeries were deemed to be too morbid and survival rates were lower. So the core question with which this trial began in late 90s is, does standardized D2 dissection fundamentally improve survival or does it merely introduce unacceptable surgical risks? So anatomically, and we have discussed this in a separate video on the anatomy of stomach. You can have a look at that video as well. But D1 is basically perigastric nodes and D2 is extended dissection where especially beyond 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you are basically looking at the pancreaticosplenic group of nodes. And for these nodes in the protocol in the Dutch trial, the earlier Japanese recommendation was to do a distal pancreatectomy with splenectomy to clear the D2 nodes in these cases. And there was also a hypothesis that without removing pancreas and spleen, clearance of lymph nodes will not be complete. So, based on this background, the first Dutch trial was designed. They enrolled 1078 patients from 89 to 93. 285 patients were excluded due to laparotomy because of unexpected metastasis or irresectability. Quality control was ensured here because the participating surgeons received video training manuals as well as in person supervision by a Japanese gastric cancer expert in the OT. Finally, out of 996 patients who met inclusion criteria, 285 were excluded. So, curative intent surgery happened in 711 patients, out of which 380 were in D1 group and 331 were in D2 group. If you look at the 5-year verdict, the recruitment ended in 93. So in 99 NEJM, the 5-year data was published, which is the first Dutch trial paper. And the 5-year survival was nearly similar between D1 and D2, that is 45% versus 47%. If you even look at the range, it is minus 9.6% to plus 5.6% confidence interval. This was not statistically significant. So, the first Dutch trial paper at 5-year survival reported that the routine use of D2 is not recommended in patients with gastric cancer. Also, in short term morbidity and mortality, you can see that the postoperative complication rate was nearly double in D2, operative mortality was double, reoperation rates were also double, and median hospital stay was increased by 2 to 3 days. So, initial data presented a clear narrative that extending the dissection increased or nearly doubled the surgical mortality and vastly increased the complication rate without yielding any observable 5-year survival benefit. At this point, if you were practicing as a surgeon, you knew that D2 is not beneficial in any group of patients other than what the Japanese were operating and advocating. But if you follow these patients up for a longer interval, and this is why this study becomes a landmark trial, that they continued the survival analysis up to 2010. And when this follow up was done up to 15 years, they saw that the 15-year survival in D1 versus D2 was 21% versus 29%. So 82 patients of D1 and 92 patients of D2 had a good long-term survival. And the divergence point was at 2.5 years. What that means is that the survival difference begin to visually separate between 2.5 and 5 years, and this widens over the next decade. So the short-term follow-up matched the long-term oncological efficacy of D2 surgery. So this simple data proved that D2 was probably better than D1. Then they started subgrouping and analyzing the data. When you start isolating the cancer control, you can see that the true efficacy of D2 was significantly better than D1, because when you look at the gastric cancer related deaths, D2 surgery resulted in an 11% absolute reduction in deaths specifically caused by gastric cancer, which you can see on the right hand side of your screen. The p value was significant. So all cause mortality was higher in D2, which were non-cancer deaths such as cardiopulmonary and aging over 15 years. But when you consider cancer-related deaths, D2 was significantly better than D1 surgery. When it comes to loco-regional control as well as metastatic disease, local recurrences were 22% versus 12% in D1 versus D2. Regional recurrences were lesser in D2 and liver metastases were lesser in D2. So D2 surgery definitely was causing a change in the local biology of the disease and reduced to nearly half the rate of local recurrence and regional spread. So what was the issue then, that the earlier outcomes were not great? A subgroup analysis was done where you separate the patients from distal pancreatectomy and splenectomy to no pancreatectomy and splenectomy. And you can see that the high mortality that was seen in 1999 was not caused by the lymph node dissection but by the routine pancreaticosplenectomy, which had high morbidity and mortality at that time. And this is what was confounding the data of the first Dutch trial presentation. So once you adjust the efficacy, basically you form two subgroups where the patients with pancreaticosplenectomy were excluded. So that will be 339 in D1 and 206 in D2. You can see that the 15-year survival was only 22% in D1 versus 35% in D2, and the hazard ratio and the p values were definitely significant. So when you remove the morbidity of organ resection, D2 lymphadenectomy definitely proves highly effective and offers a 13% absolute increase in the 15-year survival. So now when we see the paradigm shifts in the surgery for gastric cancer, you can see that the D2 gastrectomy was already established as the standard of care by the Japanese group, but the first Dutch trial inclusion between 89 and 93 gave short-term results in 99 but showed that the D2 had a high mortality, and so it was not the standard of care at that time. 2010, when these patients were followed up, when the techniques of pancreatectomy and splenectomy improved, and when we realized that a D2 surgery can be performed without doing a pancreatectomy and splenectomy routinely, you could see that these were confounders in the 2010 data. And when a D2 lymphadenectomy is performed without DPS, the outcomes are much better compared to D1 gastrectomy. So now the procedure is a spleen and pancreas preserving D2 resection. What we study in today's books, this is how it has evolved. Very important to understand this because your future trials will depend on what you have done in the past. And this is how you try to learn surgery in a way that you can see how things have evolved and how concepts have formed. And that always helps us in practice. So evidence based medicine is what these landmark trials are focusing on. True value of surgical extension was only revealed when longitudinal data separated the biology of cancer recurrence, from the mechanisms of surgical morbidity. Now, in today's world, what we feel is that this is a standardized surgery, that is the D2 lymphadenectomy, should be done at centers with high volume to reduce perioperative mortality. And of course, now we know that perioperative as well as total neoadjuvant therapy is a part of gastric cancer management, and it is not only surgery. So that also needs to be included in the trials that are going to run in future. So that is why this trial features in our landmark trial series. I hope you enjoyed this evolution process. This is how we learn various surgical techniques, and I think it always helps to know what was happening in the past and what is going to happen in future. Thank you.